How do cultural studies address issues of power, morality, and status in different societies? If you're curious about how cultural studies tackle the complex issues of power, morality, and status across different societies, you're in the right place. Let's break it down step by step. Cultural studies is all about understanding how culture is created, disseminated, and contested, especially in relation to power dynamics. One key concept here is cultural power, which refers to the ability of dominant groups to influence people's lives by controlling the prevailing norms and rules. This power is not just about force, it's about making people voluntarily or involuntarily adhere to the dominant culture. In many societies, this cultural power is exercised through what's called cultural hegemony. This means that the dominant group sets the standards for living and governs the distribution of resources, often making it seem like their culture is the only natural or correct one. This hegemony is not a conscious plot, but rather a subtle and pervasive influence that shapes societal norms and values. When it comes to morality, cultural studies often adopt a relativistic approach. This means that moral judgments are seen as relative to the culture from which they come, rather than being universally true. For instance, the American Anthropological Association has argued that standards and values are relative to the culture they derive from, and imposing one culture's values on another can be problematic. Stuart Hall, a prominent figure in cultural studies, viewed culture as a site of social action and intervention where power relations are both established and potentially unsettled. He emphasized that culture is not just a reflection of society, but is actively involved in shaping identities and power dynamics. Hall also highlighted the role of media in preserving the status quo and influencing cultural norms. Power dynamics in cultural studies are not static, they are fluid and context-dependent. They arise from a mix of individual and systemic factors, including social structures like class, gender, race, and age. For example, someone from a higher socioeconomic class may have more power due to financial resources and social networks. Personal characteristics like knowledge, skills, and charisma also play a significant role in how power is perceived and negotiated. In terms of status, cultural studies look at how different social hierarchies and norms affect individuals' positions within society. For instance, in many societies, gender and race can significantly influence power dynamics, with majority groups often holding more social, economic, and political power than minority groups. Socioeconomic status is another crucial factor that affects access to resources, opportunities, and social networks. Foucault's work on power dynamics is also central to cultural studies. He argued that power is not held by individuals, but is distributed throughout society, influencing the development of knowledge and identities. Power and knowledge are interwoven, with power shaping the production of knowledge to further its goals, and knowledge being necessary for power relations to operate efficiently. In summary, cultural studies address issues of power, morality, and status by examining how culture is created and controlled, how moral judgments vary across cultures, and how power dynamics are fluid and influenced by various social and individual factors. This field helps us understand the complex web of influences that shape our identities and societal norms.